Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, your cosmic GPS for life, love, and everything written in the stars. We're Tali and Ophira Edut, the AstroTwins, here to decode the astrology of the moment and help you navigate your destiny like a pro. Hey everyone, Tali and Ophi here together in New York. Tali curly and
Ophi hit the blow dryer, but yeah, we're together. We've gotten to be together a few times this year in Detroit, in Seattle. I think that's it for now, but hopefully not for the rest of the year. We're Sages, we're always down
we're
to
going to be in
travel.
LA in November
That's true.
for
That's
some.
true.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been a busy time on this trip, but not necessarily running out and about, but we have been cleaning and purging and just getting, you know,
Doing all the eclipse things.
yeah, that
We heard
eclipse.
from a lot of people. I mean, they were in Pisces and Virgo, so and how are you doing on the other side of those? We're gonna talk about that this week about, well, here we are now officially in fall, over the hump of the equinox. We can do a little inventory on how everyone's doing. But for us, it was definitely time to look at all the things that the Pisces eclipse revealed were kind of hiding below the surface, and then do some good old-fashioned Virgo cleaning and decluttering.
And now, as we move into the week of September 29th to October 5th, we're in a real warm up, a real build up to the new year. Our friend Felicia Bender, a numerologist for Astro Style, uh, told me that when October comes, it's a one universal month because 1 plus 0 is 1. So September is a 9 month, which is the end of the cycle. Numerology goes 1 to 9. So September is almost like the end of a year, or you really start to feel the build up to the new calendar year in October. And that's absolutely true.
Makes
This
sense.
this Monday, September 29th, comes with a Capricorn quarter moon. So that hopefully will bring some grounding and a little more focus on our goals. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the other planet that's having a little bit of action this week is Mercury. Mercury, which is also about systematizing, sorting, analyzing. It's going to be squaring Jupiter in Cancer on Wednesday, which I'm like, again, already feeling that desire to like bring beauty with Mercury and Libra and order and symmetry to our home base here in New York with that Jupiter in Cancer. Then on Friday, Mercury will go head to head with Chiron, the wounded healer. We have lots to say about
Which
that. Let's
is,
get into it.
Friday is
Yeah.
also my daughter Sibel's 15th
Mhm.
birthday. So I always like to share that when I can because some of you guys have been reading us, listening to us, etc., since before she was even a concept, for more than 15 years. I've been hearing that more and more, and we really appreciate that loyalty. So she's turning out to be a pretty cool teen. I wasn't sure if I wanted a Virgo or a Libra, not that I really fully had a choice, but
Right.
I'm glad she turned out to be a Libra. No, love
She's
the
very
Virgos too.
fair-minded. She's very objective. And I've been, you know, we had a family friend's daughter, who's a couple years older than Sibel, was with us last week for Rosh Hashanah, for the Jewish New Year. And Sibel really was like, hey, do you want to go for a walk? And was asking her all these very perceptive questions. She does have Venus and Mars and Scorpio too, so
Yeah,
she's very
so
like radared in.
it's really interesting to watch this generation of teens because of the world that we're living in and that they're coming into and seeing how savvy they are about it. Now, but I also think that as a Gen Xer, I think we were pretty savvy too. We just didn't have we didn't have the tools, but this whole idea that like, oh, every generation is so different, I don't agree with that. I know that I also think that at a certain age, you're aware of of certain things. Like when you're a teen and in your early 20s, you may be more tuned in. Not everyone. There's plenty of basic, checked out, coddled kids, but there always were. But when I see people in their, mid-teens, early 20s who are noticing things and speaking about it, I get really hopeful because I feel like they haven't been jaded yet or talked out of it.
Then again, I was at the coffee shop the other day, and there was this young woman and her boyfriend were like, "Oh, I'm just like so exhausted." It was like a Saturday. Like she was like, "I don't know how those older generations used to party like that." And the two like baristas were like, "Oh, I know. Oh my God, I was like in by 9." And I was like, "Oh, honey, we did it, but we also could afford our apartments." And there were the
And
drinks were like
food.
$2. It was like, I mean, we still had to scrap together to do the cover charge and everything, but it wasn't impossible. Like and also, but
Life was accessible.
I think life is actually in some ways too accessible too, because they get their fix from social. I mean, all of us, a lot of people are socializing less at all ages because we feel as if we have socialized through these parasocial relationships of watching people on TikTok or
And your
Instagram.
brain gets a dopamine hit from watching the short videos too. So she's
That's
probably
exhausting.
exhausted by the dopamine depletion, not by life. And we had to go out and hunt for it on the streets and in the club.
Yeah, we
And
like,
then we were exhausted the next day,
yeah, or well, and
but we still got
yeah, it
it.
was boring sitting around the house. Now you can get the appearance, which actually brings us to an alarming news story this week in the age of Aquarius. Because you guys, we are deep in some crazy times. The next few years, there's this minor grand trine, this talent triangle, as it's called, this very easy, but maybe too easy flowing energy between Pluto and Aquarius, which already is making the world sci-fi. Uranus and Gemini primarily, though it is going to go back into Taurus for a little bit from November 7th to April 25th. It'll still be in that formation. And then Saturn and Neptune, which are, corporate strength, authority, and then this like just secret hypnotic energy, which are together in Pisces and Aries, kind of going back and forth between those. So this like this triangle is just taking off the guardrails with I
It's like
mean,
when someone goes to like hot yoga and their joints get too loose and they injure themselves because they're too like malleable or something.
yeah, or it's also like secret subterfuge and crazy things
Well, one
going
of the
on
things
behind the scenes.
that I read about that some of you guys may have too is like this. I read like the ad age and all the media things. So there is a an AI acting studio that's coming out, and this new AI actress Tilly Norwood. She looks like a whitened out Belly from The Summer I Turned Pretty, kind of like you know skinny, tall, brown hair, like nondescript girl next door, white girl.
West Village Girl,
Yeah, kind of if even
not of
that.
our times.
If even that and there's and what I had to it was she was created by a woman, the whole studio, and like she's about to sign a talent deal for this AI creation that she's defending as an artistic creative product. And I mean, there's so much.
Wait, who is the
Okay,
the,
so
the actual human or
the actual human who's an actor herself created this and is about to sign potentially a talent deal for her AI actor Tilly Norwood, who has her own Instagram account and is like, it's just so creepy. And there's a lot of backlash, and a lot of people's like, oh, I'm a human actor who looks just like this, who's going to be out of work and clean water because of Tilly. So it's so Uranus retrograde in Gemini too. Uranus being
Yeah, we talked about that in our 2025 book, how the digital twins and the
mhm.
AI dupes are really going to get frighteningly more, present,
Yeah.
empowered.
What I saw in my looking at on Instagram was like a lot of people like at least mark this post as AI. So one interesting trend is that we have a lot of Tauruses in the AI space. Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, who's a triple Taurus, quadru Sun, Moon, Rising, and I think even like Mercury, a
Mm.
couple others. And so this woman who created Tilly is also a Taurus. She's born on May 12th. So we're not so, I mean, to me, it's so weird because I feel like Tauruses
They
really
want the
like the
analog,
flesh and
tactile.
yeah, they
Yeah.
like the flesh and blood, but like maybe that's what a Taurus is doing with AI, like literally imitating life. But it's just, and maybe it's just the shadow side of Taurus, which is greed. Like, well, the money is too
And,
good not to do it.
yeah, and on the subject of water, I also read that billionaires are secretly, privately buying up, or quietly, if not necessarily secret, like Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, are buying up all this farmland. What are they going to do? They're going to build data centers on it. And, we talked about this a couple weeks ago that our friend Eric in Tucson told us that the city, people in the residents actually went to City Hall and shut down and prevented a data center from being built because you're seeing that, it is affecting people's water supply. There's videos out there,
Yeah,
people who
people
turn on their taps and they get like
in
sludge coming out of
Georgia.
it.
Yeah, I saw that. And I saw a group that drove Google out somewhere in the Midwest, but apparently it's probably just for about 3 months. They can always come back in after the protests die down. It was so funny because about a year ago, I was at a dinner with a bunch of corporate people, very Wall Street. I had done an event and I got invited to the dinner, and there was a woman at the table. She's like, they were trying to all like kind of talk, what are we going to do about the activists? And I didn't quite understand what she meant. They were talking, I think, about AI investments. And I was, it's just another way that the
Oh,
world has
the
gotten so
meddlesome
polarized.
activists.
How about what you've always done? Listen to them or ignore them. But like I mean, this ties into like Trump sending troops into war-ravaged Portland. That's another. We said this was going to happen with Saturn backing into Pisces, like one more round of authority, insanity.
I
And
mean, I'm afraid it's not going to end with
no,
Saturn and Neptune
it's not.
together. I mean, Saturn is going into Aries again on February 13th. Neptune's already there, although it's going to slip back into Pisces October 22nd to January 26th. They'll be together, very close together next February and March, even a bit of January, but together in Aries, making an exact conjunction at the 0 degrees Aries point on February 20th, which is the very first degree of the zodiac. So this is kind of, there's many reasons why the world feels so bizarre right now. But the fact that these two outer planets are together, Saturn and Neptune, which hasn't happened in these signs, Pisces and Aries, since the early 1700s, right at the beginning of the
When
1700s.
Detroit was
Oh
founded,
yeah, that's right.
hometown. Yeah.
Um, but they're going from the very last degree of the zodiac, 29 degrees Pisces, which is like think about all the karmic buildup, all the mysteries, all the things like buried deep in the pipes. And then they're going together into Aries and they're going to meet and make an exact conjunction at 0 degrees Aries, which is the very beginning. So it's like we can't tell what's an illusion. Do they have all this power or what? And then it's like you don't quite know what to do because if you think of kind of zero in the tarot, it's the Fool card. So you're like standing on the edge of the cliff. It's like, should I jump or not? Like, what do I even do? I kind of found myself getting stymied a little bit as soon as when Saturn went back into Pisces on September 1st. Like, up until then, I was like kind of gung-ho doing like Instagram videos almost every day. I tried to do daily, but I'm sorry. I'm an innovator in our IM system, which means mostly cardinal signs. And I just,
If we're not feeling
daily I can do in batches, but like it just doesn't feel, I don't like batching videos for,
innovators don't like just doing something because like we want to have something to
yeah, I
say.
want to, yeah, but I mean, I
Somehow we
also
always
really
deviate.
just hit like, kind of like as soon as Saturn went back into Pisces, it was like I've got to clean up something. Like my focus really went into like finishing some things up, like that very, and like I said at the
It just
beginning,
makes
that
sense.
not,
Pisces is the last sign. It's very reflective, internal. It rules the 12th house of the subconscious and secrets and little hidden areas. You've been going into all the closets and the
I know our
little
friend
mini
Gary
bedroom.
DeAndre, Gangsta Gary, thank you so much for coming over, Scorpio Insight, and knowing that we needed a house blessing, house clearing because it was like, ooh, that closet. So yeah, I mean, there were things in the closets that we wore for photo shoots in 2008. And essentially I pulled out everything. I was like, as we're doing our Astropreneurs course right now, which has been so amazing. Shout out to everyone who's in there, and we'll be definitely be doing that again, where we help you use your birth chart to design and create your business or your career. And one of the this week's lesson was the hello statement. And I found as I pulled out all our old books, I'm like, how do I introduce myself? I'm like, oh yeah, here's the translation of Adios Barbie, the book that you wrote
Or
before,
Chinese or
yeah, yeah, and our, the Brazilian translation of Love Zodiac. I was like, we have
yeah.
authored so many books and they've been translated into multiple languages. And
Yeah, never put that in the
I
bio.
forget that we do, I forget, like you just get so busy with life that you don't
And
even
I
pay
think we have
attention to
like
what you're doing.
Bulgarian, Chinese, Greek, Portuguese,
And I was like, why
Spanish,
don't I own
German.
that more? Like that's pretty damn cool, especially as a Sag. So for you guys listening, I'm just wondering, like, as we wind up this 9 universal month, as we move into the 10 October, which
Q4.
yeah, like Q4, like what things, where do you need to do some clean outs and what things have you not been present to in yourself, your accomplishments? This quarter moon in Capricorn on Monday is a time to really, humble brag or own the things that you've done or just, yeah, like really integrate your milestones, your success, your accomplishments, no
Yeah.
matter how big or small, but even if they're like an inner growth that you've had this year.
Yeah. No, it's important that we step into our own authority versus just reacting to the people who are in designated elected positions of power. Like we don't have to wait for them to shape every part of our lives, make impact, make influence where you can.
And we have to now. I mean, we're moving into next year's going to be a 1 year, the year of the unbridled spirit, as we're calling it. And those of you who have already ordered our 2026 book will be getting to read all about that in November when the book is released. And those of you who don't even know about this book, well, since I unpack the closets, let me talk about that. Every year we write a 600-page book that covers comprehensive, in-depth forecasts for all 12 signs. Or you can get an individual sign book that's also a planner. And these we put our heart and soul into all year long, working on them and like really tuning into what the theme is of the year. So there's your top 5 themes for your sign, a full-on love forecast, a full career forecast, month by month overviews. If you get the sign planner. It'll have calendar pages. Both the big book that has all 12 signs or the individual sign books have hotspot dates, important dates, key dates when there's transits, retrogrades, new moons, full moons, specific aspects, things you need to know about. So you can open it up any day, say, hey, is there something going on today? And most days there actually is. So you get like a bonus horoscope there. And what's really beautiful is that you can plan ahead. So, oh, I'm thinking of going on vacation in March. Oh, I see Mercury might be retrograde, so let me just, that doesn't mean you have to cancel the trip, but let me accommodate for that. So it's astrostyle.com/2026 dash book. We'll be sharing more about it, but you definitely want to get in the queue. They make great gifts, and we start shipping in November.
Yeah, first
First
come,
week.
first
So
served.
yeah,
Yeah.
we try to get them all out in time for holidays. But if you're someone who already wants to start planning out your year, we have different bundles. So you can get a big book and a book of your sign, or
Or three of the little ones for a special price
people
too.
love those, a great gift pack.
Yeah, we brought that back. And we're gonna have a couple new things in the book too. We always do the lunar Chinese year report and a numerology. And we're gonna have an astrocartography report by Helena Woods, who's one of the more prominent and awesome astrocartography experts out there now. And also a little human design report. So we'll surprise you with those when the book comes out.
Yep, I can't wait. And yeah, so now that the closets are cleaned, gotta get back down to writing and yes, making some videos too. I also felt this like rebellion against like I mean just the post eclipse. Like it was like, no, I'm not gonna be silent. I'm not gonna not speak up, but I just was like, F you to the oligarchs. Like I didn't want to put anything on Mark Zuckerberg's platform for a moment there. It just felt like they were really like, the regime was really going after people. And I'm like,
With the Jimmy Kimmel and the
yeah, it's like
Charlie Kirk stuff. I mean, honestly, that was such the fugue state of the eclipse season.
Saturn going back into Pisces
Saturn, yeah, it
again.
was just like I think we all probably. I mean, we said when Saturn retrograded back into Pisces on September 1st, it was like the tide coming in and washing all the stuff that was buried in the ocean onto shore. And I feel like that happened. That was September. So if you are still doing a beach cleanup internally, metaphorically, or processing it, like that's okay. I think like a little pause and just, I mean, all the stuff that happened with the Charlie Kirk funeral. There was just like that televangelist convention. Like it was
I just think
better. It's like one of those things like better to like if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Like I've started to notice myself this year as like, okay, here comes another spin thing. I could get caught up in the outrage wave and go toe to toe with religious fundamentalist nationalist cult members, or just let them have their big. It's such a it's well, you don't want to be silent, you don't want to be complicit through not doing anything, but also like trying to argue with people who are in the feverish throes of a cult moment is also not worth it either. So I don't know what the right
an
answer is,
NLP
but
moment. I mean, literally, and this is where Saturn and Neptune together are, whether they're in Pisces or Aries, I think
hypnosis.
like collective hypnotism by these Saturnian father figures, these sort of people who are, like, I'll take care of you. You are safe with me. I'll provide for you. But it's all spin. But like are people do. I mean, like we wonder how do these people who clearly are not of the same, financial status, social groups as Trump in like rural America, farmers, like how do they put their faith in him? But it's like we are conditioned, we're hypnotized into thinking this person can help me, can provide for me, can save me. And it's like if you've been indoctrinated by patriarchal culture or
You're
even patriarchal
primed for
religions, yeah,
obedience.
big
And
daddies.
cult leaders need obedient flock members. And if you are in kind of a job where you get praised for following a rule, doing things on time, this very linear 3D thing, then like you're ripe for the picking for that.
And that's good. Let's talk about the Jupiter Mercury square because Mercury in Libra, let's glaze, let's smooth talk. Squaring Jupiter in Cancer, which is kind of this homeland security. So on Tuesday, Pete Hegseth is going to be meeting with hundreds of military officers for this sudden secret meeting. And
Where are they
Trump
meeting? In
is
the
coming.
I mean the Rose Garden? What?
Yeah, I'm actually not
Yeah.
sure, probably the Club Rose Garden. Yeah, but like there's suspicion that they're going to be given an option. I think it's going to be a big propaganda. Again, another
Threat.
NLP hypnosis. Get on board or get out, be part, do my bidding, and then, Trump is sending troops, the National Guard into Portland, which
But
is
that's not a civil war. I mean,
a
astrologers have been
provocation for
saying,
a civil,
you
it's
know,
a civil war you're turning
yeah, you're
already.
turning troops against your own city, which is one of the most progressive. We know it's a go where the people who are progressive are, in a high concentration and intimidate them into silence and obedience.
I don't think Portlanders are going to fall for it, but
Oh God,
I mean,
no. Well, but no, that
during 2020, it was,
of course they're not. And so I think what they want is like get them riled up, film them protesting, and see these crazy radical left lunatics can't behave in a civilized way. It's
there's
gaslighting
such,
101. We need
people in Portland are some of the nerdiest, smartest,
You know, that is that October 2nd? No, I mean, Gandhi's birthday is coming up. I know because my
it's
daughter's
the first,
October
but
3rd, and I was looking at the dates she could be born. Is she going to share a birthday with Gandhi, Julie Andrews, Emily Post? She got Gwen Stefani and Al Sharpton. I guess I'll take it.
Julie Andrews.
No, she's the day before, I think.
No,
But
no, she's a third.
is she? Okay.
Yeah,
All right, that's my favorite.
yeah.
Um, well, let's, I'm thinking about Gandhi and it being Libra season and human design. The sun will be in the gate of depth, which is like a real inward. Like, what if we started to protest? I mean, people have already tried this. There's no way. It's like what I've also noticed is like people who are not in the cult are infighting. You're doing it wrong, and that's why we're losing. It's like there is no right way. But
Right.
it'd be interesting to see if like a silent protest, like people get, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Uranus is in Gemini. The media optics are going to spin it. So
And
I don't have
that's
an
a
answer.
tactic. Yeah, that's a tactic that I've seen though. And that this happened with Charlie Kirk. Put a fake news story out, then retract it,
But already
but
like
bad on the feather
poison the
people.
well, the
Exactly. Oh
data
no, no, no.
center.
Right, exactly. And the Chiron Mercury opposition on Friday, we're already feeling that with this looming government shutdown too. That's also another uh and why might the government shut down? Because Democrats don't want to sign off on the destruction of the Affordable Care Act and leave millions of Americans struggling to figure out what to do for health insurance. I'm sorry, not people don't
Well,
want to
they're
buy Amazon health insurance and all the misinformation about Tylenol and
I was gonna say, well, they
autism.
better not take Tylenol. Yeah, well, and now there's this pharmaceutical company that is getting approved, and Trump is all up on that with um, an autism drug to help with maybe some speech improvements or
It's like
something.
folic acid or
Yeah, it's
something.
folic acid. It's just
Which
I'm
isn't that
like,
in like a
is
pregnancy
RFK,
vitamin?
I'm just waiting for someone to find a secret holding company that the Trump family and RFK Jr. are part of as investing in that because he's
Supplements.
not and he's not anti-vax and anti-Tylenol. He's anti anything that him and his cronies don't have investments in.
And
Uh,
everyone thinks he's so like, at least his
I hope the
supporters. They
quarter
think
moon
he's.
of
I
his
got into a
company.
fight with a friend of mine who's like die hard on this man, because of his Monsanto victory. But I'm like, what is his beef with people with autism? Is it and with speech related things? It's like he has a worm in his brain. He has an incurable, impact on his own speech. And like, why is he going after this so hard? Like, what? You gotta wonder. Like, you gotta
There was a
follow
whole
the
New York
money there.
Magazine article a couple weeks ago about the Kennedy family and everything too, which is kind of fascinating. Like, is that a relic? Are these dynasties?
I
I
know
don't know.
I'm getting so bored with these billionaires and their power grabs and these oligarchs and women now too. It's just like yawn. You're boring me. I want like some humanity here. I don't,
I just
it's
keep
like
really reading more and more about the human design 2027, like new 400 year cycle. There's, this book by this guy I can't really find a lot of other places, but he breaks down the 400-year cycles from like a couple thousand years BC till now, and which of the four gene keys or gates were prominent. Basically the four of the 64 I Ching hexagrams that were prominently uh,
and they're the
focused
mutable
and
signs. It's like
shaping.
a
Yeah,
grand mutable cross, basically, which is Gemini opposite Sag, Pisces opposite Virgo. And if you draw a line, there would be like you could make a cross shape or a square. So these
mhm.
4 points kind of move if you think like a dial. Every 400 years, they move a notch. And so, now that cross is, or
That's been there
incarnation
since the
cross.
cross of planning that's been in place since 1615 is moving to what's called the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So we'll talk about that more in October as we get ready to release our Human Design for Astrologers course, a little mini course that we're going to be sharing.
And we are going
And
to be writing about that in our book as well.
mhm,
The year of the unbridled spirit. That's what we're calling
it's
2026.
a
Like,
very transitional year ahead.
but also a year of like this year is more of the transitional year. This is where we're like
Yes.
sort of in
Yeah.
suspended animation, the year of the divine pendulum. Next year brings a breaking point. February 17th, we have uh, a solar eclipse with the new moon in Aquarius. The new moon in Aquarius is always lunar New Year's Eve. So that kicks off the year of the fire horse. We're in a 1 year because
First time since
2026, if you
$1966.
adds up to one, if you add up the digits. So the year of the unbridled spirit, think of wild horses breaking out of the pen. So like we can only take this for so long, people, humanity still has a pulse, a heartbeat, a voice, and it's like the theater of the absurd has become the theater of the absolutely outrageous, from the ice prisons to these attacks on cities to
To
these
AI
to the
actors that we know
water.
that nobody needs.
I know. It's
It's
like,
it's like why? Can we just ask ourselves? Like Libra season is a time of reflection, rebalancing, and contemplation and
and to think that it's like scary,
justice.
yeah,
Yeah.
justice too. Like it's just being architected by Stephen Miller, Russell Vogt, uh,
Virgo,
MAGA
Aries.
Mike Johnson, all these Project 2025 architects. Like, if you saw Stephen Miller at the Charlie Kirk funeral. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't even know if we taught like that Charlie Kirk funeral, like
Yeah, we did
there was the
last week.
faux, there were the I forgive you, which was like sus in and of itself from Erica Kirk. But then like when the Trumpies and Don Jr. got on, they just turned it into this like awful right-wing rally, and Stephen Miller, who I cannot believe is Jewish, although I don't even know like what to say anymore. Just he just literally started quoting like Eichmann, a Nazi, and just like,
He
we will
is the
not be
worst.
defeated. We will. I mean, it was like
Ugh.
this this man, it's like I literally do think some alien, why are they not releasing the information on aliens walking among us?
Because
Because they've
they've defeated
infiltrated the
us.
government.
Yeah. Well, we need some of the good aliens paging Pleiades. Send us your
How
true.
about some
Some
Atlanteans?
Atlanteans, whoever Dolores Cannon has approved of is welcome here now. So
Just some like, oh my God, just some people with some heart. Or no, there's so many of them, and
there
we
are.
are so
We just
blessed to have you in our community. We know that if you're here, because we do readings for you, because we meet you in our classes, that you're someone who wants to make the world a place of love and joy and freedom for everyone. And we can't stop just that's
And what I've been loving is like talking to some of the people who've done readings with us this year who are such beings of light and work in the military and
right.
intelligence and defense and government and academia and corporate, and they're there and they are have such strong justice meters, and it makes me feel hopeful, although some of them have been victims of Doge as well. Like it's just so good to know that you're there and you have that knowledge and that you've seen behind the curtain. It makes me feel reassured. So, all right, well, we will be back next week.
Oh, but I did want to just say one more thing to just celebrate one positive thing, in my opinion, with as Saturn rounds out its tour of Pisces. Congratulations to Bad Bunny, who is going to be the Super Bowl halftime act. He's a Pisces. So for all the Pisces
Yeah,
out there
so
who've been getting
great.
your asses kicked by Saturn, I heard Chapel Roan is doing a small tour. Our lucky cousin Sarah gets to go see her.
I
Um,
feel like Bad Bunny is like just gives zero
no,
Fs.
yeah, that's
I
what I
mean,
love
so
about it.
like he's
He's
gonna make
like,
Kendrick Lamar look
exactly.
soft by the time he's
That's
done.
what I was like really celebrating about that. So, but yeah, we will be back next week. Next week's a bit busier. We're gonna kick it off with a fiery Aries moon. I'm riding the wave of this Monday quarter moon in Capricorn. It's time for me to stop decorating, stop cleaning closets. Very hard for a South Node in Cancer to do. And again, if you have not put in your order for our 2026 book and you are someone who wants to know what's happening for the entire year, get the whole overview, get the forecast, make sure you get in the queue. We'll put that in the show notes, astrostyle.com/2026 book. See you next week, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to AstroTwins Radio. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, we'd be over the moon if you left us a 5-star review. It helps fellow astrology lovers find us. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on iTunes and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Want the full visual experience? You can also watch the video version on our YouTube at AstroTwins-TV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins and head over to astrostyle.com to read your free daily, weekly, and monthly horoscope that we write for you with love. Until next time, move with intention and let the universe meet you there.